The best stock car drivers on the planet have a secret, and they really don't want you knowing about it because a bloke from Auckland just walked into their sport, pointed a TV camera at his own feet, and exposed the whole thing on live telly. 6 of the last 7 road course races won by one man in a series that's supposed to have the deepest talent pool in the world. Now, you might think that's just SVG being brilliant, and he is. But that's not the story. The real story is what his brilliance reveals about everyone else, because when one driver is this far ahead, it stops being a talent gap and starts being something a lot more uncomfortable. A crisis, and NASCAR knows it. Let's start with the thing everyone's talking about, the feet. At the Circuit of the Americas, the broadcast cut to SVG's pedals mid-race, and drivers in the field were tweeting about it. Racers watching another racer's feet like it was witchcraft. Here's what they were looking at. Shane's heel and towing. Right foot rolls across the brake and blips the throttle. Left foot works the clutch all at once, corner after corner. If you've watched V8 supercars, you've seen this your whole life. It's just how you drive a proper race car over here. But in NASCAR, this is a lost art. And I mean lost. Back in the day, every cup driver had to heel and toe on road courses. The ones who nailed it, blokes like Ricky Rudd, went to the front. Simple. Then, in 1986, a crew chief named Gary Nelson bolted a Jericho dogbox gearbox into a Hendrick Chevy. Suddenly, you could bash through the gears without finesse and without the clutch, without any of it. And Rudd said it himself back then, that gearbox closed up the competition. Any oval racer could now hustle a road course and look decent. Sounds great, right? More competitive, level playing field. But here's what nobody said out loud for 40 years. When you make the car easy, you stop rewarding the skill. And when you stop rewarding the skill, the driver stopped learning it entirely. That's the seed of the crisis. But the gearbox is only half the problem, because the footwork isn't even the part that's hurting them most. So let's get into the cockpit. Imagine you're strapped in at Sonoma, barreling into a hairpin at 120. The whole field is left foot braking. That's how you drive an oval. You're only ever turning left. You trail a bit of left foot brake to settle the car, and your right foot lives on the throttle. Muscle memory. 20 years of it. Problem is that muscle memory is garbage on a road course. Here's the physics. When SVG comes off the brake, his right foot's already rolling onto the throttle. He's feeding power in. Before the corner's even done, the car's balanced. The rear tires aren't lit up. The field can't do that cleanly. They brake, they wait, then they stab the throttle on-off. That little hesitation, that dead moment between brake and gas, is where the lap time bleeds out. And don't take my word for it. Connor Zilisch, the 19-year-old who's the closest thing SVG's got to a rival, said it plainly. Watch Shane out of a corner, and he's not even getting to wide-open throttle while everyone else is pinned. Let that sink in. He's going faster while using less throttle because he's not sliding the tires. He's not overworking them. That's the 5-mile-an-hour on-corner exit right there. Not one big move. 100 tiny ones every single lap that the field physically hasn't trained their feet to make. But here's where it gets really spicy, because a few of them tried to copy it, and what happened next tells you everything about how deep this crisis actually runs. Now, NASCAR runs an open book data system called SMT. Every driver can pull up SVG's exact telemetry. His brake pressure, his throttle, his lines, all of it laid bare. So copying him should be easy, yeah? You've got the recipe. It isn't. And this is the bit that should worry NASCAR most. Ross Chastain, SVG's own Trackhouse teammate, tried it and said, "My feet are on the wrong pedals when I do it his way." He's 33. He can hold the technique for maybe 3 corners before his brain snaps back to old habits. Joey Logano started a Watkins Glen weekend right foot braking and bailed out in practice. Austin Cindric flew all the way to Adelaide to run a Supercars wild card just to practice it. These aren't backmarkers. These are Cup Series champions, grown men flying across the world trying to relearn how to use their own feet. And Denny Hamlin, who actually won Mexico City 20 years ago, right foot braking, reckons the kids coming through won't even bother learning it. That's the crisis in one sentence. A skill the entire field has quietly abandoned, that one bloke made mandatory again overnight, and now nobody can catch up because the muscle memory's a decade too late. So the obvious question is, can NASCAR just ban it? Change a rule, close the loophole, make it fair again? Well, they looked at exactly that, and what they found is the twist in this whole saga. Here's the uncomfortable truth for the rule makers: there's nothing to ban. SVG isn't running an illegal bit of kit. There's no trick diff, no dodgy brake system. He's just better with his feet. You can't write a rule against skill, and here's the kicker. SVG himself downplays the whole thing, told Dale Earnhardt Jr. on the Dale Jr. download that people overthink it. He explained it's a hangover from supercars' lock diff, loads of rear brake. You had to control the car on the clutch. In the next-gen car, with an open diff, he says you technically don't even need to, but that's the trap, isn't it? Because doing it his way clearly is faster. He's just so used to it, he can't see it as the advantage everyone else does. And now the part that should genuinely scare the field. For 3 seasons, SVG was a pure specialist, a gun on road courses, a genuine liability on the ovals, average finish out on the ovals, 25th. He was statistically one of the most lopsided drivers in modern NASCAR history. Then 2026 happened, 6th at Echo Park, 5th at North Wilkesboro. He's gone from well below average on ovals to basically dead average in less than a season. NASCAR's own numbers call it historic. He's now better than 90% odds to make the chase. So the one weakness the field was clinging to, yeah, but he can't do ovals, is closing fast. So is this really a skill crisis, or is one bloke just that good? Here's my honest take. It's both, and that's what makes it dangerous. The next-gen car and 40 years of easy gearboxes made the field lazy, not lazy as in slack, lazy as in never forced to learn. The skill floor got so comfortable that a genuine road racing craftsman walked in and made it look amateur. And now over to you, because you're the ones who actually get this. You grew up watching supercars drivers heel and toe every single lap at Bathurst. You saw this coming before the Yanks did, so I want it in the comments. Is SVG exposing a genuine skill crisis in NASCAR, or is the field just one clever kid, this Zillish, away from closing the gap for good? Drop your call below. And if you want the full breakdown on whether Zillish can actually beat him without the right foot trick, that's the next one we're building. So hit subscribe and the bell, because that fight is going to define the next 5 years of this sport. Because the secret's out now. The whole garage has seen the footwell. The only question left is who's actually got the feet to do anything about it.